What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Andrew's Awesome Carcast. Seeing as how I have not crashed and killed myself yet, I am still your host, Andrew Francis, and let's roll right into it. So, first things I want to talk about this episode. Recording this, it is Wednesday, June 5th. Over the weekend, this past Sunday, I did something that I have not done in a very long time. And to be honest, it was a little rough at first, but like overall I loved it. It was great. I went and saw a double feature at the movie theater. So I went and saw Godzilla and John Wick 3 back to back. Like I did Godzilla first, got out of Godzilla, and then literally had to just sprint into John Wick because my showings were like 2 minutes apart. So yeah, I want to talk about those movies starting off the bat. So first off, take them in stride. Godzilla, first movie I did. Bit disappointed, not horribly. Like it's not a bad movie by any means. It's just not what I wanted it to be. And based on reviews I've seen are pretty split. Like most people either love or hate this movie. And I can understand why the people who hate it do. It's because, and this is probably my biggest criticism of it as well, there's just not enough monster fighting in it. It's too much people talking. It's too many fucking boardroom meetings. Like, if I had to put an actual like time limit on it, I'd say like, God, I don't know, maybe somewhere close to an hour of this movie. It's got a 2-hour 10-minute runtime, I think. And honestly, like, I would say somewhere close to an hour, maybe, or at least that's what it felt like, is just people around a large table talking about how they're gonna, survive / defeat these monster attacks. And it's like, okay, like I get it that you need to have this exposition, but I mean, shut up and just let me watch monsters fight. That's all I think anybody really wanted. Like in a movie called Godzilla, King of the Monsters, that title alone says that, like, okay, you think you're gonna go see Godzilla, whoop on a bunch of monsters and, establish himself as King of the Monsters. Nope. Really, Godzilla only fights Ghidorah, who is like the main villain monster, I guess. Because the villains, like the actual villain, like human villains, I should say, of this movie are Charles Dane and what's her face? Mia I can honestly never remember her name. She was in she's been in a bunch of crap though. She was in Up in the Air opposite George Clooney. She was in I don't know, Mia whatever. Anyways, those two are like the main human villains of the movie. Like, so I guess I should just give a quick review of the movie. So it starts off, it's been how many years since the events of the first movie where Godzilla fought Muto in San Francisco, fucked up San Francisco. And as a result of that, Mia, again, whatever her name is, her son died in there. Her young son died in that. And so she works for Monarch, by the way. Monarch is the big company who, I don't even know how to describe it. Like the big corporation who like controls the world, kind of, in this universe. So like she works for Monarch, and the movie starts off, it's her and her young daughter, Millie Bobby Brown, 11 from Stranger Things. They're in their house talking, about how they haven't seen or spoken to her dad in a while. Like her dad sends her emails, but she never answers them. And like it turns out like this house is in the middle of a jungle in China. and they then go into like this elaborate mining operation. We see that they found a like an egg, like a nest, and it's Mothra's larva, and it's like the larva hatches and like it's Mothra that comes out, but like it's not normal Mothra. It's like, you know, it's the caterpillar one. And we see there, like, you know, they put a containment field around it, but the field fails. Like the larva's, you know, going berserk a little bit, and so then she breaks out this this device that they call the Orca, which is a device that sends out like a signal or a sound or whatever the hell. Like it sends out in like an apex predator signal that kind of like that weaker monsters or other monsters will like defer to. So like they'll calm down because they think, you know, a stronger presence is around them, so they'll obey it. And so like that gets Mothra to calm down. And this Orca, this is like the MacGuffin of this movie. Like this is the central thing. Like it's, you know, it's the important thing that comes into play. So like they do that anyway. So yeah, Mothra is under control. Yada yada yada. But then as they're doing that, boom, there's a big terrorist attack, and the fucking Lannister dad from Game of Thrones who got shot by a crossbow in the toilet by Peter Dinklage. him and his eco-terrorist group bust in. They kill everyone except for her and Millie Bobby Brown, and they take them in the Orca. And then so then we cut to Monarch, like the rest of the Monarch. Monarch's like, oh, this happened, you know, these two are kidnapped, and they hunt down the dad played by I can never remember his fucking name either. He's been a bunch of things. I'm gonna be honest, in terms of humans in this movie, with the exception of Ken Watanabe, like it's a bunch of names that like you've seen all these people before, but none of them are like, at least in my opinion, none of them like A-class superstars. So I don't remember any of their names really, except Millie Bobby Brown, because she's in Stranger Things. But yeah, I don't remember any of these people's names, so bear with me here. So yeah, so they go and find the dad, and they tell him like, oh, your family's been kidnapped, yada yada yada. And like he tells this backstory, like, oh, you know, like after our son died in San Francisco from Godzilla, my wife sank herself into her work, and that's what caused our split, and yada 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 yada. So then they track him. They fucking figure out that the eco-terrorists are taking them to it was either Alaska or Antarctica. I can't remember which one. Fucking cold place. So they take him to this place with a very cold, bunch of fucking ice, and they go into that place, that Monarch facility's mining operations, and you see Ghidorah trapped in ice. Like, don't know how that happens. Never really explained. But yeah, Ghidorah is just trapped in a solid block of ice, and they're clearly trying to free him. And so Monarch comes in with the dad, and they storm the place, you know, like trying to you know, free them and, you know, take them out. And it's here that we find out that Millie Bobby Brown and Mia again, I think it's Vermigia or whatever the fuck, I don't know. We find out that they're actually in on it. They're bad. They're the ones who hired fucking evil Lannister dad's army of eco-terrorists. They're with them, and we see this when so they've planted bombs on Ghidorah to free him from the ice. And we find out that they're evil when, like, the guy holding the bomb trigger, he gets shot and he drops the trigger, and the mom picks it up and she's like, I'm sorry, and she detonates it to free him. And then like, so they're like, oh wow, they're evil. So Ghidorah gets freed, and like with the bombs blowing off, the whole base collapses, this mayhem fucking ensues. Ghidorah is freed, and he's just on the fucking warpath. Ghidorah, for those of you who might be watching this who've never seen the movie or whatever, Ghidorah is the three-headed dragon-looking monster that Godzilla fights. So yeah, so Ghidorah is free. He's causing havoc. He's going out. He's an apex predator, you know. So like the Orca, like they try and use the Orca on him, and like it kind of works, but not really, because again, like I said, he's an apex predator. So like, whereas like they used it on Mothra, like Mothra became kind of submissive, Ghidorah just kind of gets pissed. Like, he doesn't go into like a huge rampage, but like he actively searches for the sound to destroy it, because like, I guess he conceives it, like I said, he's an apex predator, he conceives it as a challenge. So like, he's stepping up to meet that challenge or whatever. So yeah, they try and use on him, it doesn't really work, and he kills a whole bunch of people. And so then like, and then Ghidorah gets free. And then we cut back to the dad and Ken Watanabe and all their crew. They're on a giant stealth bomber, which is like their kind of moving base of operations. And they get a video conference call from the mom, and like she explains like, oh, I did this to save. I'm not trying to destroy the world, I'm trying to save it. She's like look at humans, pollution, overpopulation, this, that, and the other thing. We're destroying the earth. And she believes that freeing all these monsters is gonna save the earth, because the monsters are radioactive in nature, but like it's a special kind of radioactivity where it's like wherever they go. So like they use San Francisco and Las Vegas as examples from the first movie, whereas after like Godzilla and the Mutos were there and whatnot, like their residual radiation was causing plant life to flourish, so they figure unleashing all these monsters, they're gonna rampage across the world, and but it's gonna cause like all the plant life and everything to come back, yada yada yada. But everyone with half a brain realizes this is a dumb idea. In the process, you're going to kill billions of people. But of course, she's like, oh, it's worth it to save the planet. Yeah, okay. So that's her plan, like go by, release these monsters one by one. But the thing they didn't count on was that Ghidorah, so like Ghidorah, his cry, his roar is like the same as this fucking orca thing, where when he roars, like he awakens all the monsters from their slumber. Like they said it earlier, like what they knew of, they knew of 17 monsters, or like sometimes they call them titans. It's like 17 titans throughout the world so far. And like they were all like dormant, asleep, or like entrapped in ice or whatever the fuck. But like his roar, his call wakes them up. And then like, so they all start moving across the world, and they figure out they're trying to get to Ghidorah. So like Ghidorah is the apex monster besides Godzilla. And it's like they're all trying to get to him. And oh, sorry, totally glossed over something. When Ghidorah was first woken up, Godzilla like was alerted to his presence, and Godzilla came to fight him, and they fought, and Godzilla ripped off one of his heads, but still lost, because something fucked it up. I forget what fucked it up. He was fighting, he was winning, and don't get me wrong, Ghidorah was getting some shots, but what? I can't remember. Something happened that like fucked it up for Godzilla, and Godzilla basically got beaten, took a lot of damage. And so yes, like Ghidorah was I think he was in Washington DC, like is like established base of operations or whatever. And so like he's summoning all these monsters to him. So like we see, I'm not too familiar on all the Godzilla monster names, but like we see Rodan. Rodan gets up, another Muto gets up. Some weird like not elephant, woolly mammoth kind of looking one gets up, and whatever. Anyways, they're all heading, and some fucking spider one, they're all heading towards Ghidorah. Like Ghidorah is summoning them to him. And so while that's happening, Godzilla, who got beat by Ghidorah, like has retreated, like he's fallen off. Oh, it was a fucking bomb. That was it. So yeah, so Ghidorah was fighting Godzilla, and while they were fighting, like they started off fighting on land, right? But then like Ghidorah started flying away, and but like it flew too close to the ocean. Like Godzilla was able to like pop it out of the water and drag it down. They're fighting underwater, and like that's in Godzilla's element, so Godzilla's winning. Like he's taking some hits for sure, but he's winning. But then the government decides like, oh, this is our best chance to take them both out, and so they launch this like crazy, insane nuclear kind of thing. I forget exactly what they call it, but like it'll kill anything that needs oxygen within like a 5-mile radius, whatever, like even like underwater. So like they launch this missile, it hits them, like you see like all the fish around them, like all the fish just float up dead. But of course it doesn't work on Ghidorah. Ghidorah comes up and like flies away. But like it doesn't kill Godzilla, but it rattles him. Like to the point where like they figured out a way to track Godzilla, by the way, through like his bioacoustics. It's like, you know, they have a beat on him at all points. And so like they think he's dead at first. But then like I said, later on, like they catch like a faint pulse and like he's alive. And so they're tracking Godzilla, and they track Godzilla back to his lair. Like they finally found out like his lair, and it's under the earth. And he's in like these old ruins and whatnot. And so Godzilla's there, but Godzilla's like this near this heavily radioactive source. Like it's never really made clear what it is, like if it's like the Earth's core or whatever, I don't know. But like so he's there just like regaining his strength. And so the people decide like Godzilla, like once they figure out all these monsters are being attracted to Ghidorah, they figure, okay, we need someone to challenge Ghidorah. Someone to challenge Ghidorah right now is king of the monsters. So like they need a king to challenge their king, and Godzilla's their best bet. Because as we learned in the first movie, Godzilla is kind of just like the monster police. Like he's not exactly on the human side, but he's like the king of the monsters. He's just like kind of like, don't touch my stuff. So like he's not specifically there to save people. He just wants to establish his dominance as like the strongest and biggest, baddest. Because like he doesn't really fuck with people because he doesn't care. But like again, it's like don't touch his stuff. Like people are his stuff. And like they even addressed that in the second movie, where Ken Watanabe's character, he says like he believes like a symbiotic relationship with these monsters is possible given like the right circumstances. Whereas like in the scenario he lays out, like where Godzilla's the king of the monsters, like he controls all the other monsters, and like we just kind of like live with him. And they have the line, like it's in the trailer too, I've seen it, where it's like, oh, so you want us to be Godzilla? It's like, you want Godzilla to be our pet? And he was like, no, we would be his. And that's kind of the way it goes, like where this franchise is kind of leading to. But so back on track here a little bit. So yeah, Godzilla's healing. It's like the humans decide, okay, we can help Godzilla. Like he needs radioactive energy, so let's literally, basically detonate every nuke we have directly by him, so like it'll pump him up. And so they're gonna do that, but like of course something goes wrong, like, oh, we can't remote detonate it. So Ken Watanabe's like, I'll sacrifice myself. So, you know, like he goes down there with Godzilla and he sets off the nuke and he dies. And like Godzilla absorbs the energy, and now he's ready to fight Ghidorah. And in the meantime, Millie Bobby Brown now thinks her mom is evil. Like she realizes the error of her ways, because like before she was sold on it. Like her mom sold her on this whole idea, but then like seeing what was happening, going all around and whatnot. And it was specifically when Rodan was released. Like all the people were evacuating like all the areas where they knew monsters were, like where known monsters were dormant. And like they were all evacuating. She was like, Mom, at least let the people, you know, get to safety before, you know, you unleash Rodan. But she did anyways, and like, you know, Rodan caused the fucking panic. And so like that was the moment like she was like, oh, maybe what we're doing is wrong. No shit. And so then, so as Godzilla's coming to fight Ghidorah, she stole the orca, you know, like the thing, and she goes to Fenway Park, and she's broadcasting the film, because at this point Boston's been completely evacuated. So, you know, it's like an empty, it's like open and empty ground, like for monsters to fight, you know, like with no human casualties. So she goes to Fenway Park and she broadcasts it from there, and it attracts Ghidorah, who starts wrecking the place. And like, so then all the monsters of course are heading towards him as well. But then Godzilla gets there, and Godzilla and Ghidorah are wrecking Fenway Park, and Millie Bobby Brown runs away. And so as Godzilla and Ghidorah are fighting, like, her parents arrive, and, you know, like, they unite under the fact that, like, oh, we need to save our daughter. So they go after her, like, they recover the orca, and they're trying to find her while Godzilla and Ghidorah are fighting. And now the humans are helping Godzilla, by the way. It's like they're bombing Ghidorah and shit while Godzilla's fighting. Oh, another thing is, apparently they, like I said, they can track Godzilla, and, like, they read his vitals. Like, they can read his radioactive levels are off the chart, and, like, he's absorbed so much energy from that bomb that, like, he's gotten bigger, and that he's like, but, like, he's gonna expel this, like, he's going to explode pretty much. Like, Godzilla's gonna go nuclear. And so like, they're trying to just buy him time for that, because, like, they figure this explosion will take out Ghidorah. And so, like, we don't get to see much of the fight. Like I said, like, throughout this movie, we don't get to see too much monster fighting. And so, like, Godzilla and Ghidorah are fighting, but the camera's just on the parents trying to find Millie Bobby Brown. And so, like, we're missing a lot of that, and they go find her, and she's unconscious, but, oh, she's alive. And then, so, like I said, they're trying to buy Godzilla more time to, like, you know, recover and build up. So, like, the military comes to rescue the whole family, but the mom, finally realizing the error of her ways, like, stays behind. She's like, no, I'll use the orca and I'll lure Ghidorah away to help buy Godzilla time. And so she uses the thing, and Ghidorah finds her, and Ghidorah kills her. But hey, look at that, it bought Godzilla the time he needs. And so now, like, Godzilla is now, like, if you've seen these movies, well, now, like, Godzilla is, you know, pretty much like a dark green and black scale colored, but then when he uses his radioactive breath cannon kind of thing, like, he'll glow a light, like a light electrical blue. Well, now his, like, entire body is just pulsating, like, is pulsating dark red. And then, like, as he gets more and more to critical radioactive mass, you know, like, he'll shoot off, like, a radioactive, like, pulse or wave or whatever, like a destructive kind of force thing, whatever, like, you know, all building to the big ones. Like, they're fighting, and then, of course, the big fuck. Oh, sorry, before that, so again, because again, there's not too much monster fighting, so it's kind of forgettable. So Rodan shows up, and, like, Rodan is, like I said, Rodan is, like, loyal to Ghidorah. Like, he recognizes Ghidorah as the king of the monsters. Like, he's helping. But then Mothra comes in, and Mothra fights Rodan. And I thought Mothra killed him. Like, there's a moment where Rodan has Mothra pinned against the building, and Rodan's, like, about to deliver the final blow. But Mothra stabs him through the chest, like, with her, like, her stinger, like, you know, has a stinger on the bottom, kind of like a bee or a wasp or whatever. And, like, it goes straight through Rodan's chest, and Rodan falls down with, I thought, dead. But later on, we find out he's not. But anyways, so Mothra kills Rodan. And then also there's another moment where, when Ghidorah and Godzilla are fighting, where Ghidorah's got Godzilla down pretty bad. Looked like he might be about to deliver the finishing blow. And, like, Ghidorah has 3 heads, and it shoots, like, a yellow electrical radioactive beam from each head. And, like, it's about to do that to Godzilla, but Mothra takes the blow for him, and Mothra dies. Again, allowing Godzilla more time to recover. So yeah, so Mothra's dead. And then, so back to the fight. Like, Godzilla's, like I said, Godzilla's about to go radioactive. And Godzilla, boom, big radioactive blast. And it disintegrates Ghidorah. And, like, you know, like, so, like, there's a big cloud, like, oh, we're wondering if it works, and, like, Godzilla emerges, like, eating he's got, like, the final Ghidorah head in its mouth. Because if you just cut off one of Ghidorah's heads, that we saw earlier, like, he can regenerate, like, you have to disintegrate him. And so, like, he's got the last head in its mouth, like, looks like he's just kind of eating it, but then, like, as, like, you think he's about to swallow it, he uses his energy blast and, like, completely disintegrates Ghidorah. Godzilla wins. And also, it's discovered earlier, like, when they were in Godzilla's lair, that Ghidorah, like, fell from the sky. Like, Ghidorah is actually an alien. Like, I don't remember if, I don't know enough about original Godzilla lore to know if that is Ghidorah's origin, like if Ghidorah is an alien from outer space. I don't know. That's what they went with in this movie. So yeah. And yeah, so Godzilla wins. And then all the other monsters get there, like the Muto and like I said, Rodan, who I thought was dead but gets up, and the woolly mammoth looking one, the spider thing, and like they literally all bow down to Godzilla. Like Godzilla's standing on like a heap of rubble, so like on the hill, and they all bow to Godzilla. Godzilla roars, you know, king of the monsters, and that's that movie. But yeah, like it's not like, I know the way I just did it there, like it sounds a lot worse than it is, because if you watch it, it's not bad. Like it's not, again, not as good as I hoped it would be. Way less monster fighting, and the final fight between Godzilla and Ghidorah is a bit underwhelming. Like it's not, again, it's not horrible, it's just fine. Like I wanted it to be cool and badass though, but it's not. And I also, throughout the movie, I thought Godzilla would fight more monsters, but really Godzilla just had the two fights. Like he fought Ghidorah when Ghidorah first appeared, and he fights Ghidorah at the end, and that's kind of it for monster fighting. Like other than that, it's just like you get random clips of monsters like laying waste to, you know, the world, but not too much monster on monster action. But yeah, again, it's not a horrible movie, it's just not great. Again, just not what I expected it to be, what I was hoping for. But like I'd give it like a 6. I'd say it's a 6. Not horrible, but nothing to write home about. You know, maybe wait for this one on HBO, you know. Although I guess it was kind of cool to see them on the big screen, like these huge monsters on the big screen. It's like, I can't fully recommend going to see it in theaters though. I can't 100% get behind that. Like, it's a good idea, but like there's better ideas. Like I said, it's like I'm about to talk about John Wick. Like if it's a choice between like John Wick or Godzilla, fucking go see John Wick. Or if it's a choice between, if you haven't seen Endgame or Godzilla, go see Endgame, obviously. Or, you know, like whatever. But Godzilla's like, it's okay. It's okay. So as I said, I did a double feature, went straight from Godzilla to John Wick 3. Now, John Wick 3 is fucking awesome. If you haven't seen the first 2 John Wicks, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go see those. Those are terrific action movies that have no business being as good as they are. Like, I remember seeing the first one with my 2 friends, and the only reason we saw it is because the movie theater we had seen at, they do a special on Tuesdays where it's $7 Tuesday shows. So like we had seen the trailer, so like we were kind of interested in it. Like we thought it might be fun. It's like we saw the first one on like a $7 Tuesday, and we were fucking blown away with how good the action is. We were like, oh my god, like how is this good? And like the second one came out, the second one's great as well. So yes, like I knew I had to see the third one, but like I said, I was a bit lagging on it, which kind of led to me seeing the double feature, because I was like, okay, John Wick's been out for a hot minute, Godzilla's just coming out, like let me just knock these both out, you know, so that way I'm kind of more up to date on my movies. So yeah, so basic quick rundown. So leading into John Wick 3. So John Wick 1, the story of John Wick 1 is this: John Wick is a retired assassin. He's like one of the greatest in the world, until one day, like he's pretty recently retired, and this jerk-ass kid of a Russian mob boss wants to buy his car. He's got a really sweet car, one really sweet muscle car. Wants to buy his car, but John says no because the car means a lot to him. But I guess the kid, by the way, is I don't know the actor's real name, but it's Theon from Game of Thrones. So like Theon like breaks into his house, beats him up, leaves him like near dead, kills his dog. Like he's got a puppy that his recently deceased wife left, and that's another key. His recently deceased wife like gave him this puppy before she died, and they kill that puppy and steal his car. And so the first movie is all about him going on a rampage, trying to get revenge and get his car back, and he does. So then second movie is then like he's kind of dealing with the aftermath of that, because like I said, he was retired, but now that he's done all this shit, you know, like he's got a foot in the water, you know, like he's kind of back in the game. And so then this one guy comes up, and like John owes him like they have these things in this universe called a marker, where it's very much a blood oath, where it's like you do something, if you've done a serious favor to someone, like you get their thumbprint in blood, and so like it's a sign of like, hey, I owe you this thing. And it's like this one dude has John's marker. Like we find out this one guy helped John. He's part of the reason why John was able to retire. Like he helped him leave that life. So he has John's marker, and it's like he wants John to kill a member of what they call the High Table, which is like, these are like the leaders of the assassin underworld. Like these are the tippy top of that. And so like he holds John's marker, so John does that, and then John's got to like deal with the consequences of that. And it's like John does that, and the ending of that movie, the ending of 2, is, and within this world within this John Wick universe, there's this hotel run by Ian McShane's character named Winston, called the Continental, where the Continental is like, it's safety, like it's the safe haven for assassins, where it's like there's no business allowed done in the Continental. It's like if you're there, like you can't fight, you can't kill anyone. In fact, those are the rules. If you break the rules, you're pretty much instantly killed. But so the guy who made John Wick come out of retirement, he's held up in the he's the bad guy of the second movie. He's held up in the Continental, and he's like, John tracks him there, and he basically tells John, like, look, I'm just gonna stay here. Like, you can't kill me while I'm in here. I'm just gonna stay here. But John says, fuck that, and he shoots him in the head in the Continental. So, John is then excommunicated, is what they call it, from like the assassin life, where like his life is now forfeit. Like if you see him anywhere, even in the Continental, like you can kill him, because like he broke the rules, all bets are off. And so like literally the ending of the second movie is John sprinting, but he got a new dog in the second movie, but was John and his new dog like sprinting down the streets of New York to wherever he's gonna go. And so the third movie literally picks up with him running down the streets of New York with his dog. And like as he's running, you see like all the secret assassins, like they all like recognize, they see him run by, and they're all checking their watches, because at the end of the second movie, like he's excommunicated, but the kill order doesn't go into effect in like an hour. So they're all like waiting for the hour to go, because now there's a huge bounty on his head. It's like he's running down the street, and so now again we're in the third movie now, the one I just saw. So he's running down the street, and he's trying to get to a doctor. To like, he's got a gunshot. He's got I forget if it's a gunshot or a stab wound in his chest, in his side, but whatever. He's trying to get to there. He's trying to get to a doctor. Oh no, first he's trying to get to a library. He goes to the library, where he stashed some emergency supplies hollowed out in a book. And he goes there, and we see this first assassin, who is this former, I'm not sure, former or current NBA player, like big, tall, 7-foot guy, Bogdanovich. He used to play for the Clippers. Like he fights him there, and they have a really good fights in there, where John kills him with a book. It's awesome. And he retrieves some gold coins, which is the currency in this universe, a crucifix, and there's a photo of his wife in there as well, that like he doesn't take with him. He just like, he looks at it, kisses it, like basically kind of saying goodbye, puts that back in there, kills this dude, leaves. Oh, in fighting that dude though, in fighting the big former Clipper, he gets stabbed, like kind of like here. Nope. He gets stabbed. Sorry, I was merging. But he gets stabbed, and so then he gets stabbed. That's what leads him to go to a doctor. And so like the doctor tells him like he can help him, but only up to a certain point, because like once the kill order goes into effect, like he can't get help or anything. So like the doctor does as best he can in like the 5 minutes. Like doctor's a good dude. So then like boom, it hits, and like so it's on. Like it's time to, like John's now on the run for his life. And so then like you just get this montage of him trying to get to this place where like he's taking out all these assassins. And within that kind of kill montage kind of thing, we see the Adjudicator arrive. And the Adjudicator is played by Asia Kate Dillon. I think that's how you pronounce their name. They play Taylor Mason in Billions, if you want to look that up. And also the voice of Val/Valentina in Genlock. Anyways, they're the Adjudicator, and they arrive to adjudicate Winston, Lawrence Fishburne's character, and I forget who the other one is. No, it's not John. It's Lawrence Fishburne, Winston, and so there's a third stop, but we'll get that in a second. So then they arrive, and they so yeah, the Adjudicator arrives, and the Adjudicator goes to see Ian McShane at the Continental. He's like, yo, you helped John, you fucked up. I'm now deconsecrating the Continental. Whereas, like, basically she took away all the Continental's rights and privileges. Where it's like, you know, not special anymore. So like now you can kill people there because it's not safe ground anymore. It's not safe haven. And so yeah. So she does that, and then she goes to see Lawrence Fishburne, who Lawrence Fishburne is kind of like the king of all assassin hobos. Where, so like, it's this his underground network of assassins, like they're all homeless. Like they live on the streets in New York, but like, if you think about that, like it's a brilliant kind of network because there's so many homeless people. Like he has all this information being fed to him, and like his people are everywhere, like unseen, like they move, you know, in the shadows kind of thing. And she goes to him, she's like, well, if you remember, like, you're the one who gave John the gun that he used to kill a member of the High Table. And so his punishment was like, she gave him a gun with 7 bullets. He's like, so you're, like, you gave him 7 bullets, your punishment will be 7 slashes. And also, when she arrived, she recruited, like, this other, like, top assassin. Like, this bald Japanese dude. I forget what his real name is, but like he's a badass in this movie. And so like he slashes Lawrence Fishburne's character 7 times with a sword. I thought killed him, but we find out later not. But so that's his punishment. And then so the third person she come to adjudicate is now who will meet John. It's where John was running. It's like we go back, it's like some like Middle Eastern ballet studio. And we see this woman played by Angelica Houston. Like, she's there, she's running this place. And, like, she's telling John, like, oh, you fucked up. You know, like, I can't help you now. But John shows her the crucifix. He's like, I still have my ticket. It's like, whatever this is. Like, I don't, like, it's never explained, like, exactly how he earned this ticket. Or, like, what he had to do to get it. But like he has this thing which is supposed to be good for, you know, like no matter what, if he's in trouble, it's safe passage to kind of wherever he wants, or at least back to their homeland. And so like he convinces her to cash it in, and so she sends him, I forget where, Morocco. She sends him to Morocco, and for that's why the Adjudicator then comes to see her. But her punishment isn't as bad. So like for that, like she just gets stabbed through the hands. Well, I mean, she got a bunch of her people killed because like when the bald Japanese guy and her were like arrived at the building, like they just started murking people to get to her. Sorry. So then yeah. So like a bunch of like, so like she gets stabbed. Like she makes her hold her hands like this and she stabbed him through the hands. So John's in Morocco, and John wants to go see, John basically goes to the Continental of Morocco, and that is run by Halle Berry. And so the whole reason he wanted to go there is because it's then revealed that, oh, this was another thing that was in the book, sorry, backtracking, in that hollowed out book where he had the crucifix and pictures of his wife, he had a marker. And so we find out that that marker was Halle Berry's marker. And what John did was John apparently helped her daughter escape Morocco. Because, you know, she's an assassin, so, you know, like, people are going to come after you and your loved ones, your family and whatnot. So he helped her daughter escape, and John got her daughter to safety, so he held her marker. And she agreed to, you know, So what John wanted from her was John wanted to get to the person, as he worded, the person who sits above the table. So like the leader of this assassin organization, like the #1 guy, like the head, like tippy top the head. And to do that, like there's only like one person, I guess there's only one person in there who possibly knows where that is. And so they go to see him. And oh, Halle Berry has these two, you see like all these pictures around her place. Like she has these two like very highly trained attack dogs who are badass. And so like she and John and the dogs go to see this guy, and the guy like, I'll tell you what you want to know, but as payment, you have to give me one of your dogs. And she's like, fuck you, no, you can't have my dog. Excuse me. And so like, he tries to shoot one of the dogs, but the dog is wearing a bulletproof vest. But like that still pissed Halle Berry off. Oh, excuse me, belching right now. But like, so Halle Berry's pissed, and so she shoots him in the legs a few times, and then like she and John like just go on this fucking badass tear where like they're just taking out all of his men. And like the dog, all these, like she commands these dogs, like the dogs are just like fucking kill robots essentially. Like she gives them a command, like nods at who she wants taken out, like the dogs just rip them apart, and it's fucking great. So yeah, so they slaughter everyone there and they get their way out. And oh, so the guy gave them the information they wanted. Like he tells them like, you don't find him, he finds you. He's like, what you have to do is like, you have to follow this star. You just follow this star, and you just keep walking. Like you just keep walking, and it's like, and eventually, like the way he worded it was like, keep walking until you can't walk anymore, then keep walking until you're about to die, and then maybe if you're lucky, right before the moment of your death, this guy will find you. And so that's what they do. That's what John. So Halle Berry and John escape into the desert in a Jeep, and then like she leaves in there because like she didn't want to help John, but like she knew she kind of had to. So like she just leaves John there, and she takes her dogs and leaves, and that's a wrap on Halle Berry. We don't see her anymore. So then we get John walking through the desert, and it's like I said, like he walks, he collapses, and then someone finds him and takes him to, like I said, like the head assassin dude, like the guy. And so John, he's like, you know, like he tells John, he's like, I should kill you. What do you want? And John's like, I want to make amends. It's like, I want, you know, like John basically like, I want back in so I can continue to live and remember my wife. And so the guy's like, well, to do this, you're going to need to do two things. It's like, number one, it's like, I want you to go kill Winston. Like Winston, you know, like the Continental, he broke the rules helping you, and now he's refusing to step down. So I want you to be the one to go kill him. And the other thing was, he wanted him to take a finger. So John cut off his ring finger, so on his left hand, and then took off his wedding ring and gave it to him. And the guy's like, I accept this. And he's like, so now, like, all you have to do now is go back and kill Winston and we're good. So they send John back to New York to kill Winston. But like, he reaches Winston and he doesn't want to kill him because, you know, like they were friends. Like they're still friends. And Winston convinced him too. He's like, hey, you know, like if you help me, like, it's like we can, you know, we don't have to listen to the high table. We can do our own thing. Camera overheated there, but we're back. Yeah, one of these days I gotta figure out why that happens, because it just goes off without warning. But anyway, so yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, so John tasks killing Winston, goes back to New York to kill him, gets to him, decides, hey, I'm not gonna kill you, like let's team up and let's fight these bastards. So yeah, so because of that, the adjudicator, they call for basically like their version of a SWAT team to come in and storm this place. And so it's John, not Andre Braugher. God, what's his name? The fucking voice of Zavala in Destiny. I'm totally spacing on this name, but anyways, like he's the concierge at the hotel. Like it's them two, and then like all the other like the staff of the hotel against like the fucking hit squad from the assassins. So so yeah, it's like they cut the power to that, and they're fighting and they're shooting and stabbing each other in the dark. And it's just, oh man, the action in this movie is so good. Like, I'm running through it too quickly just because I don't want to be too long-winded, but all the action in this movie is choice. Like, the Halle Berry stuff, like John running through New York dealing with all these assassins. Like, oh man, it's all so good. So like all these, like, also like this hit squad of assassins come to kill John. They all have like this super armor where it's like you can just unload into it and nothing happens. It's like, and so it forces John to get up close on him. Like they're all wearing like protective helmets too. It's like John has to get up on him, like get the gun pretty much on their chin and fire into them. Like, so, the stuff he has to do to kill them is great. But then, so then because of that, him and the concierge get pissed off, and they like where Ian McShane's character is Winston. He's in like this big, he can't fight and he's too old. So like he's just sitting chilling in this big ass secure vault in the basement, waiting for like the end, but he's also got all the weapons. So like John and the concierge go down like to reload, and it's like John tells them like they've upgraded their armor, and like you can see like the concierge is pissed. It's like he takes off his jacket and tie and he starts pulling down shotguns off the wall, and then he shows John, he's like armor piercing 12 gauge metal slugs. Like, fuck their armor, you know. And so him and John load up on that, and they start blowing people away, and it's great. Cheers. So yeah, so they deal with all them. But then also, now John kills all them, but now John has to deal with the adjudicators, like that elite hitman Shadow, the bald Japanese guy. Because it's the bald Japanese guy, apparently also, like, he trained a bunch of people. Because, like, he has a squad that rolls with him, and he refers to them as his students. So, like, John's got to go through them, you know, to get to him on the top level. And so, one of them, I think more than one of them as well. One of them for sure. One of them for sure is, I can't remember his last name, and I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce his first name correctly. But it's Yayan. Again, I can't remember his last name. I believe it starts with an R. But he was, he's been in the 2 Raid movies, and he was in The Force Awakens. He is just one of the best hand-to-hand, like, stunt fighters. Probably a real fighter as well. I'm sure he's got just like real martial art degrees and whatnot. But just that you've ever seen in movies. Like, if you've never seen The Raid 1 and 2, fucking go watch The Raid. Like, if not just for him, the whole movies, both those movies are fucking great. But so he's in this, and then so him and this other dude have this just great hand-to-hand knife fight with John Wick. And like, it's so good. Like, and you can tell like you can tell like they respect him. So like when John first arrives, so like they kind of let him like catch his breath and whatnot. And like they have this great fight, and like even in the end, like John lets them live. Cause like, you know, like he respects them. And he goes up to fight the bald Japanese guy. And they have a great fight as well, because like they've been having this banter back and forth throughout the whole movie. And so they fight, and of course, John eventually wins. And then so that's it. So like they've won. But then like, so the adjudicator is like, okay, let's talk. So then John, Winston, the concierge, and the adjudicator all meet on the roof of the building to talk. Because the adjudicator is like, look, this was just the first wave. Like, you got by this one, but like, we'll just keep coming at you. So let's negotiate here. And so Winston negotiates that he gets the hotel back. Like, the hotel gets all that stuff back. But then he has to kill John. And John's like standing right there, and he's like, wait, what? And Winston's just like, yeah, sure, of course. Because it turns out that like after, like, Winston knew he fucked up by helping John. And so like this whole thing was like just to show of power that like he can still like, you know, like he's still a force. He can still, you know, like he can still serve. And then so like he just shoots John off the roof, but like John's wearing bulletproof clothing, and so yeah, it's like John falls off the roof, and we, you know, he hits a bunch of shit on the way down. It's like we're not, you know, he's not dead anyways. He's the star of this movie. But then so like everyone thinks he's dead though, and like as the adjudicator's leaving, like they notice that John's body isn't there, like he's gone. Like where is he? And then so we find out that Lawrence Fishburne, one of his homeless network assassins, like they found John in the street first, and they picked him up. And they bring him to Lawrence Fishburne, who survived his slashes. Like he's all scarred up and stitched up and whatnot. And like they bring John to him, like John's barely alive, because like I said, he got shot and fell off a fucking building, but he's alive. And like he's like, I'm pissed off, John. Aren't you pissed? And the movie ends like it's a close up on John, like he's huddled over, but like still alive. And he looks up at the camera, he's like, yeah, I'm pissed. And that's how the movie ends. And oh man, but that movie is so good. Like the John Wick movies are so much better than they have any business being. Like the stories are just basic revenge plots. Like there's nothing spectacular in terms of writing, you know, dialogue or anything in these movies. Just the action is so crisp and clean. Like it's so good. It's so authentic. Like you can YouTube like military and combat training videos and like compare those, like what you see in John Wick. And of course, you know, it's not like perfect one for one, but oh man, it's so good. It's so crisp and good. And so yeah, so obviously now we're set up for a fourth John Wick movie where he is now apparently, I guess, gonna get revenge on Winston. And my guess is he's gonna attempt to just bring down like the entire assassin organization now, or like possibly do something that's gonna set him up as the head of it. I don't know, but yeah, clearly the next movie is gonna like more revenge. Well, we'll see what's going on. But yeah, oh, I was so entertained the entire movie. Absolutely go see that movie. Where I would rank it in the John Wick universe, probably I'd probably say it's the third best. I think it goes, and this is something for me that changes on any given day. But like for what I'm thinking right now, based on everything I've seen and whatnot, I'm thinking it goes 2, 1, 3. It's like 2 is the best one, then the first one, and now this third one. They're all still really good though. Like, you know, you're splitting hairs here. They're all great. Absolutely go see these movies. Go see John Wick. But so yeah, that was my weekend. Did a, like I said, double feature. You know, I hadn't done that in forever. Hadn't done that since I used to work at the theater I went to go see that too, the ArcLight. I used to work there, and so I would get free movies. And then so like I would see 2 in a day, like when I had nothing to do or whatever, just because, like I said, it was free. But so yeah, I hadn't done a double feature in a while. Like coming out of John Wick, like I did have a little bit of a headache just from like all of that. Just, you know, being in the theater for 4 hours and whatnot, just focusing, you know, like all these little lights and sound blasting around me. But I was fine, you know. Should the mood strike, I could do it again. But, yeah. So I think that's where I'm going to cut it here. So, yeah, basic summary, Godzilla, John Wick, really great. Go check it out. And yeah, so until the next time, if you know, like, share, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at KingFranchise88. Till then, be good to each other. Love y'all. Peace.